Welcome to the CP Podcast. My name is CP. This is the CP Podcast, where we talk about stuff that CP want to talk about. Because I'm CP, it's my podcast. CP is the name of the podcast, also the name of the me, CP. And then we have, of course, always the beautiful, intelligent, multidimensionally inquisitive Maye. And then we have Amir, who has more black outfits. Amir be at the mall and the Grim Reaper be like, "Hey, Amir, how's it going? You getting that new, did you see that new hoodie that pulled off in the drop?" Amir like, "I already got it." "Damn, you sweet as hell. You got all the black shit. I'm going to see you one day." But not today, though. They just shop at the same place. Give it up for Amir, man. What's up, y'all? How y'all been? I've been gone. How y'all been?
Good. Did I tell you what happened when I tried to travel?
No.
When I tried to go to New York to Syracuse?
You mentioned, okay, wait, I remember you said we had an episode that day and then you had to go to Syracuse and then you was like, you know what, I didn't even have to go to Syracuse, but I don't know what happened or something happened with Syracuse.
The airlines messed up. The airlines, first off, they put my flight back by 2 days and then I was like, okay, well, I can still make it if I go for 2 days. That's fine. And then I show up to the airport and then she's trying to tell me that I should go to Dallas, knowing full well I'm going to miss my connection in Dallas. And I was just like, what are you talking about? So they never got me to Syracuse.
Yeah, like they don't even care. They just like, it's like, why would you rob me somewhere? Oh, my God. And you had a ticket? Were you flying standby?
I had a ticket. I had tickets, and for both one of them, I had a ticket in my hand. And I'm like, I have to get there. I'm supposed to taste things for the wedding. I'm supposed to look at something. Tony put an offer down on a house while I was here, which was just like, what are you doing? I had to be there. And the lady was looking at the same thing I was looking at, saying, oh, yeah, you should just go to Dallas and see what happens. And I'm like, I'm not going to be in Dallas for the sake of being in Dallas. And then I was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm just going to go to my house. I call Cam, who's supposed to be watching my pets. Cameron, Jesus guy.
He a brave dude, because them some big-ass cats.
You got two Maine Coon, right?
Yeah, 2 Maine Coons is crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then they could not get me to Syracuse. I paid for the ticket, and then the ticket back they don't want to refund us for.
Yeah, it's some funky shit going on with these flights. Like on my flight to DC, you know how I zombie walked through the airport to get to my seat on the plane to time it just right where I could sleep. Like, you know what I'm saying? Get to my seat, put my seatbelt on. You know, they say something like, it'll be a couple minutes. We got to do some last minute maintenance checks. Cool. I'm like, all right, bet. I can go to sleep. 3 hours. I'm thinking that we are either, in my mind, I feel the ground, and that's what makes me be like, oh, because we're about to take off. I'm thinking we landed. We sat on the tarmac for 3 hours. I don't know what these people was doing.
Is that even legal
I have no idea. I was supposed to get to DC at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My show, the doors opened at 6:30. I got to DC at 6:45. While the openers were opening, I had to run to my hotel, change, and literally go to the stage.
They are messing up. Wait, who'd you fly with?
Delta?
Yeah. They probably didn't have a pilot. That's probably what it was. Last minute maintenance, and then 3 hours, they might not have had a pilot.
That's what happened with me. They had to bring a pilot up from LAX to Burbank, and it's like, full well you didn't have enough pilots for this plane.
Yeah, something going on, man.
They're striking, and COVID and all that stuff still going on.
It was a busy UFO weekend, too. Y'all saw them things that was popping out of them clouds? And they're talking about it's like some kind of storm cloud, but it was like 4 of them all over the world.
What day?
I didn't see that.
This was like Saturday. I gotta find it. I'm gonna look.
I think I saw like a comet or a shooting star Friday night when I was coming home. Yeah. Now I was coming down the highway, but like the 134 turning on the 110, to go home around Pasadena, and it was like around 10 o'clock. And I looked in the sky and I was like, oh, it looks like because at first it kind of looked like a helicopter. It had just like a solid, like yellow looking light. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, it looks like a helicopter. I was like, oh, it must be about to land in this building because this building looked like it had a spot where it could land or whatever. It was coming down, but I was like, yo, it's coming down like real fast. And I was like, it's about to crash. I was like, this shit is about to crash. And then it just spiraled and then it disappeared. It like fizzled out.
So is that like stuff that come into our atmosphere get burnt up right at the top?
Like a satellite or something?
No. Like it
asteroid or anything like that.
It's like we got a layer protecting us.
I think that's what it was, because a lot of people, because I went and I was like, I don't know what I saw, but I was like, so I just got on Twitter. This is how I see if anybody else saw it. Yeah. So I just searched shooting star and I went to latest tweets and then it was like, did y'all see that shooting star? I was in Long Beach. I was in the Valley. And I was like, oh, so everybody saw it pretty much. So I wasn't the only one that saw.
Some of that should be SpaceX fucking around too.
Because it looked a lot closer than I thought it was, honestly.
I remember one time, bro, I was coming back from the dispensary and you remember, my wife is here. Sorry, everybody. She's chilling in the cut. But I was coming back from the dispensary and I looked up and it was like 2 crazy ass aircrafts like puffing in the sky and it looked crazy. Everybody was outside their car like, what? And I'm on the video. I wish I was cursing too bad on the video. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I thought it was over. I thought they was here.
Was that the SpaceX one?
It was a SpaceX launch.
I heard, man, I missed them. I don't think I was living out here when
crazy.
It's like a squid in the sky, then it like split apart. And,
yes.
Yeah.
Bro.
I heard.
I was like.
I was talking to one of the people that work here, Rob. He showed me a video from, or a picture from it. And when he saw it in 2017, he thought the same thing. He's like, the world, he's like, oh, they're here.
They're here.
They're here.
I'm like, oh. And so like, my dumb ass, I'm cursing so bad and I can't even show my kids the video. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the fuck? These motherfuckers is here. Y'all see this shit? You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, which let me know that that's how I would be if they came. It was like, fuck. I thought I'd be cool.
You'd be more calm. Like,
yeah. I'm all the way down in my car. They're not even looking at me. I'm like, ah, you know? It's like, fuck. You know, you want to think you'll be cool. But I've been in an alien apocalypse for like 10 minutes. And that's how it went for me. And
I would be cool. I don't know what they want.
Man, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I was sober or high. I don't know if I don't know. I was like, yo, I thought it was over.
That's hilarious. But I could understand though.
Yeah, man. I was like,
because every time I seen the video and I was like, yeah, that looks like some wild shit. Especially to see it. I never seen it in person, but I want to see it. I don't really care about what they're doing, but I'll watch, you know.
Hey, that might be what saves us one day.
What?
Remember, we were talking about if there's a black hole that comes through the solar system, we might need to pick up and go. And that would be like 20 people at this point. Wandering black holes. So in a few hundred years, when the technology is farther along, there might need to be escape crafts from Earth.
The 20 richest people on the Earth think that they want to get into a spaceship together and get out of here. But that'd be the most boring spaceship. I mean, maybe Kanye will be there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We in space, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I can see Kanye make. I mean, but it's like, other than that, it's like, dog, like, it's going to be pretty much a bunch of old, white, long ear, Warren Buffety, you know what I'm saying?
They got to put some young folks on there.
They have to put the kids in there.
Because they going to fuck around and die on this spaceship.
Right.
They going to need some young folk because if it's supposed to be like, oh, we need to go and take it somewhere else.
Then it's like,
they got to be 20 boys, 20 girls. They got to be some young folk. And one like, is there a pilot? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I mean, at that point, I feel like we'd have some kind of drone or some kind of unpilotable. I would hate to imagine we get all that technology and still need a nigga up front. Like, we got a lot of turbulence going on with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
imagine it's us, like we all chilling, like we watch, like these people just gonna save humanity. At this point, we've accepted the fact that we not gonna make it no more. Like whoever's on Earth, we're not gonna make it. So we watching the shit launch and it burns up and leaving. Like it doesn't make it out.
Oh yeah.
We would literally be like, that's funny.
So funny.
It'd be like, oh yes, they're leaving, and then it burns up, and you're just like, wow, humanity's done for
humanity's
good.
Well, why should it be saved by these guys?
I wouldn't give a fuck if humanity was gonna be. If they weren't taking me, I'd be like, hey, ha, y'all niggas birthday. That's what y'all get. We still alive for a couple more minutes than y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Anyway, so we got to get into this nature boy shit. So I'm gonna. Is that what are we talking about that today?
Yeah,
no?
I'm obsessed with this.
Okay.
I can't.
So we have a new thing Maya's obsessed with. So we got to dive into it because I mean, I feel like this is, anytime you like deep dive into something, you're so knowledgeable about it that now we about to all learn about it. Give us the deep dive.
Well, about 7 years ago or so, this person called Eligio Bishop started a YouTube page. And since then, he started with this like new age kind of stuff, this spiritualism, kind of like Infinite Waters. You know Infinite Waters?
Mm-mm.
Infinite Waters is way better than Nature Boy. So kind of this Teal Swan kind of YouTube spiritualism that started.
Mm-hmm.
Black empowerment, that was his thing, that melanin is magic and melanin makes you smarter and more spiritual. He called it melanation at first. It's now called carbonation. Anyway.
But that's not the first time I've ever heard that, though.
No. He recycled. Here, I'll pull this up, but don't follow him. If we put this up on for the podcast, we should tell people don't follow him because he's gotten really dark recently, and his sermons have gotten incredibly dark.
You know what's crazy, man, is that, power can just destroy people, it seems like. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, to be honest with you, the idea of like a black cult or getting off the grid, you saw those people a bunch of people in like Georgia bought a bunch of land and they all kind of like cultivated it together. People could look at that as a cult just because they want to be off the grid and want to be by themselves and want to have their own. I think that, putting a person like this in charge and, when it's rooted in sex and polygamy and all of that kind of stuff, that's when people gotta, hello, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if your pastor was trying to fuck you every service, like, every man and, bring some ass down to the altar. You be like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck wrong with this nigga, But it's like, it's kind of the same shit. It's like, anything rooted in that versus real spirituality and you know what I'm saying, like it's just like come on. And that's why I be thinking like wow, why are these women on this island or it's like why do women keep going to R. Kelly's house when you've seen him pee on a 7th grader?
Yeah. Well, these are his remaining wives. He calls them his pride because they used to be down by the equator. First, he wanted to go back to Africa, and then he decided that he wanted to go to Central America because it's going to be too war-torn in Africa. Like, okay, fine. So you're by the equator. He's been kicked out of Costa Rica, Panama. I believe he was kicked out of Nicaragua as well.
Why? Just for being there without being able to be there, or
overstaying visas?
Okay.
He did start accepting white people. He started accepting white people, and he got this woman called Kayla.
White people or white bitches?
There was other white people.
You know what I'm saying?
Too.
Like, you feel me? Like, I mean, not like that. I'm sorry, not bitches, but you know what I'm trying to say, like.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Because we can just go to the evolution of his videos, oldest. So he just starts as a regular YouTuber. He's just like, I'm just, in Georgia doing all this stuff, eating fruit, da-da-da. He's obsessed with his penis, which is common. There's this cult leader called Rock Terrio in Canada, also obsessed with his penis, also had a harem of women that he kept in the woods. So we see the evolution from regular YouTuber, and then he starts finding the ideas, holographic universe, stuff that we talk about all the time, but you don't go and say, I am a god. See, he made that leap to say, I am personally a god on this planet. And people
who subscribe to that mindset, I always like to hear what their reason is for saying that. Because if you have a good enough reason and you feel as though, I'm not opposed to people like, saying that, like, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel, you know what I'm saying? And, we don't know what we don't know, right? But there is a certain, I feel what you're saying, Maye. He's doing this like some ego shit. Like he's like a fucking egomaniac, it seems like.
Well, yeah, and it's also, are we not all God? Because we followed this cult leader called Father Devine, and he was back in the 40s or so, 30s, 40s, and he said, I am God too. But it started with, we are all gods. And he is kind of saying that, but he's also talking down to women. He's abusing people physically. So he seems to feel he is more God than others. See, this one I actually had to watch all the way through. 3 God, he places all of his E's with 3s. Because if you can control the way someone speaks a language, then you can control a lot of how they think. Mm-hmm. That's very important when you're dealing with, this person wants me to say this word. Very rarely do I start saying that word unless I know what that person is all about. So
it must be something to do with the particular number.
The number 3. And he's just explaining to this woman, he calls women women, which is okay. I mean, that's, it's a play on words, maybe the etymology of the word as well. But so he explains to this woman, he gives his pitch, why she should join his particular circle. He explains to her that they don't bathe because they don't need to, because a pure body is not going to smell bad. But then Spirit Airlines kicked them off a flight for smelling too bad.
First of all, you know how many people stank on Spirit? For them to single you out, sir, you and you. Yes, yeah.
Dog, I don't even want to know what.
Man,
I don't want to know what they smell like.
Well, they were bathing in the river, which is fine. Like, see this one? I think I'm on mute. So I'm on mute. And it's just them bathing in the river.
Them rocks making my feet hurt. You ever just look at some stuff like that? It's like, that's making my feet hurt. Oh, okay.
And it looks beautiful as really attractive young Black people trying to get beautiful? Enlightened. Yeah, I think
this looked like a commercial that they would have made on Boomerang, the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga tripping.
I know that water cold.
But in theory, if you do this, you shouldn't need to take showers. Anyway, this has probably the most views of any of his videos.
That's when you don't realize you stink because you outside. It's like you smell better than a moose. So you like, we fine. We all right.
They be around each other all the time, so they get used to the smell.
I stink. No, you don't stink. I don't smell nothing. It's like, boy, get on this Spirit flight. First of all, a god on Spirit flight is fucking a hilarious concept. Of course he's on a Spirit flight because he's a god. I mean, he can't fly anything else but Spirit, theoretically.
Okay, I hear.
Okay.
Yeah,
the play on the words.
All right. So in conclusion, what basically is what are we thinking? Is he's in prison for rape?
He's in prison. He's charged with rape, revenge porn, and false imprisonment because one of his harem, one of his girlfriends, escaped and went to the police in Georgia.
So he put out her sex tape or something.
Yeah. So revenge porn, and he says, or they say, it's for educational purposes. That's why they put out the revenge porn. Because they need to help people have better sex. But
what?
This is common in cults. Like, the only thing different about this guy and most cults is that this is Black empowerment.
I'm tripping on... I've never heard of none of this shit because this is not... This nigga got a lot of YouTube. This is never coming up on my shit. Like, Maya, you are searching too many crazy things. How did you find out about Nature Boy?
Well, I did the Father Devine video.
What's that?
Father Devine, he was the cult leader he actually had a massive church in the 30s and 40s, and he was this Black guy, and basically what he did was try to organize around business. So he had all these businesses that was multiracial. And he was just like, I don't acknowledge race. I'm not going to deal with race. And I'm going to move on. And he did. And that was really threatening to a lot of power structures back in the day. Now, that would have been cool with me, but he also called himself God, said that he was a god and that people should not have sex anymore. But Father Devine may have been smashing a lot of the women. So
that's it. All the motherfuckers, all the fathers is always smashing. You ever notice that? Like, Father so-and-so, all them Catholic motherfuckers, like, who are sworn to not be doing stuff.
Yeah,
there you go.
So cult you've never heard of. And so these are the old people who are still around, but they never had kids because they never smashed. So the cult is dying
smashed
out.
Is hilarious like that. They never smashed. I mean, they never had kids. I mean, it's like, here go the thing. That's another thing. That's also another red flag, in my opinion. Like, all right, a cult where it's based on sex is like that red flag. Mm-hmm. A cult that's based on you not being able to have sex, also a fucking red flag. It's like, man, what are y'all doing? It's like, man, this is the same thing I say. This is no different than the white people who be going down there scrubbing them ducks when they get in the oil spill. It's like, you know how bored you got to be to dedicate your life to something? Like, this is like somebody doing a deep cover to cover up being a loser and not having anything going on. Like, I see people bury themselves in the church. Like, the church is a place to worship, not a place to have your career and act. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you get in and get out, do what you got to do. It's like some people, they fall into stuff like this, and I just got to be honest. It's like, you look like you can't cut it out here with everybody else. You look like you don't have what it takes to make it, you know?
Him or his followers?
Him specifically. Yeah. But then people like his followers are people who are admittedly lost. And so him being taking advantage of those people was like, makes him like a tad bit worse. You understand what I'm saying?
He's way
like,
worse.
Yeah.
Well, his followers actually have some talent because he tried to get a music business going, music production company going.
Yeah. Of course Jesus Christ.
I feel like behind just about every cult is exploitation, basically. So you're exploiting the people that you have the influence over, essentially.
Hey, Kaveh Haynes said that Nicaragua musty got a hit different.
With him, I think he wants to sleep with all these women, but you see these videos, Pice and I can't enlighten. These are actually good music videos, and these guys left. The talented musicians, they pretty much left.
At 3 months?
About 3 months ago, they left.
Niggas started using soap, and they blew up.
That was like a lot of people in that one, the Matter of Fact thing. That's a lot of people.
Where you see it?
Matter of Fact featuring up there in that little thumbnail. It looks like a lot of people in there. Like a big grouping of folks or whatever.
See, I'm gonna talk to. Oh yeah, this is music video. I'm gonna talk to Pice tomorrow because he's the one with all the talent. And then a lot of these people.
He was off the grid with a whole music studio.
Yeah, he had a music studio just in the tents and whatever. And there are a lot of talented people here. It's just not 3 God.
If they don't take their ass home, dog, you got the TV in the tent. All right, fam. Okay, under the 5, they ain't fooling me. Under the 405, I've seen that before.
And they wanted to find spirituality. This is what people on YouTube used to do a lot. There used to be all these videos, and they kind of still are, but speaking about spirituality, saying they know more, they know this and this and that. He took it offline. That's the difference between Eligio Bishop, 3 God, and let's say an Infinite Waters. Infinite Water is just online.
I'm gonna say something though, just in advocation for these people. This is what you're seeing is people who lost their culture, and we don't know who we are. And some of these things resonate to their soul, and they don't know why they're doing it, and you know who they really are. We don't know what tribes that we're from. We don't know what things that we as a person need. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's a lot of confusion. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and it's funny, but it's also not funny. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, it's you know what I'm saying? Like, do y'all understand what I'm saying though? Like,
I get you. But I'll go back with you on that is that I get that, you know, we're like the thing of having your culture taken away from you, you're lost and things like that. But I feel like when the information comes out and it presents itself in a way where you can understand it, they've already pushed themselves so far to one side that they completely ignore the things that are actually true. And a lot of things that are true in the history, they're not always going to be pretty. They're not always going to be great. Mm-hmm. And that's the part of the things that people reject because they subscribe to a specific kind of lifestyle or just a way of spirituality or whatever that seems more like utopian, like, you know, more more just great in general. And then it's like, well, we can have all this information here that shows you what it actually was, and there's, you know, recorded documents that show like what it was. They're like, nah, that ain't it. And it's like, well, you know, like I get like you can be like, nah, you know, because it could be a thing, but they're not open minded either.
Yeah. I think I understand what you're saying because I mean basically it's like
they want to believe in a past that never happened.
Right. They want to believe in a narrative instead of the actual truth. And I think that's what I'm saying. It's like the actual truth is what we are devout. We don't have that. Even people try to give us the truth are the same people who've given us lies. So now we can't even trust what they're saying. So it's like the truth don't hit the same because it's like, nigga, I don't really trust how everything y'all then taught us was a lie. Everything y'all taught us about who we are is a lie. And so it's like, that's what I mean by it's like, put it like this. There's a Indian people, like Native American Indians, right? I don't want to like mess up the pronoun or the whatever.
Indigenous.
Indigenous, right. They can't drink liquor. Have y'all ever heard that?
Oh, they can't process or
Yeah,
metabolize
like they can't
alcohol the
metabolize
way.
alcohol.
Yeah.
Like it's not in their makeup, right? Now, the further you get from your tribe and the understanding of that, the closer you are to liquor and possibly putting yourself in an early grave, not understanding and being taught that we don't metabolize things like that, right? The flip side is this: the closer they are to their tribe, the more spiritual they are and the more tapped in and tuned in that they seem to be, right? Like those are probably historically like some of the most recent really like spiritual plane walkers. Like these, like they were the ones that as at least in our most recent history, we can go to the indigenous Indians and look at stuff that they were doing with like psychedelics and you know what I'm saying, like early on.
There's still some doing that.
Of course.
In Central
But that's
America.
what I'm saying though. It's like, so when you get around your people, you can get your power up. Like we don't even know what our power up is because we're not even around our people. We run around eating the bullshit, we taking in the bullshit, and we don't even know like this is not good for you specifically because you're one of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so, you know, I think that, you know, people like Dr. Sebi and, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that who are preaching different stuff, even that's cool, but it's like we don't even know how that breaks down to the different groups that are even in Africa that I might not have even been a part of. It's like you just don't know.
Yeah, African Americans are different, and so are European Americans. I won't just say African Americans, but because it's like a new tribe, because it's a mix of a bunch of other tribes that came from Africa, so it's not like one specific genetic lineage that came over. Like there were a lot of lineages that came over and are now mixing to form an entirely new tribe of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's intermixing with others as well. And that's the same thing that happened to white America. Because if you go back to Europe, these same people who are like, oh, we're all white or whatever, they were ripping each other apart as early as like 75 years ago. They almost completely destroyed each other. But when they come here, they're all white. Really, they're French, they're English, they're German, they're Italian, and they've intermarried and now making a completely different blood group. Is that we have a really biased way we look at race in America. It's just darker light. But it's like, no, these are different tribes.
I feel like even in that messaging, that's a way for them to give African Americans like that's like a mind fuck concept, kind of like we lost ours too, because that's not true. They can go, yeah, they know what they are. They know that they're French, and they can go to their grandmother, and then they can go back to the home country, and they can trace it back. Like they know what part of Sicily. You know what I'm saying? They know, like they be knowing these white folks. They're like, what are you? Oh, I'm actually quarter Italian and Polish, and a little bit of Polish. You know, and it's like, oh, well, then you know what the fuck it is. What am I, nigga? I'm from Finkel.
When they do that, it sounds really silly because people will be like, oh, I'm an eighth Irish, and it's like, no, you're an American. You're a mutt. You're not Irish at all.
But
you're just
Maya,
a white
flex,
American.
though, to be able to say what you are based on percentage and be right.
It's a goofy flex.
No, it's not no shit. It ain't no goofy flex to me. I would love to know if I was just in DC. People kept stopping me, asking me like, "Are you East African?" I'm like,
you look, because you can tell. So people who are around. People who go to Africa or whatever, who visit, you can tell the difference between groups because they have different features.
Yeah.
And here, people don't have that ability.
But here's the kicker though. Like I don't think that, like my eyes are bigger than my dad's and my mom's. So it makes me look more East African than they do. So if you look at my parents, you wouldn't see East African, or would you? What do you think? Yeah, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't see it with your mom.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're right, right. It's like so, and my dad, you know, he looks like me, but smaller eyes. He's just not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not as pronounced as that. So it's like, I feel like, you know, we are intermingling as well, the same way that they are, but we're intermingling almost like randomly. Like we have no idea what we are mixing with each other and what we making as these American black kids.
You're making something better. That's what I feel, is that American, look, we have a bigger genetic pool. Everybody's well fed. Like, we should be making something better.
But that's like, that doesn't, I don't think.
You gotta be proud of what you are and not think about the past. Like, you have a future. Do you know what I mean? So like American blacks.
But here go the thing though.
That's something better.
I have to build my future from scratch. And I have no idea about my past. And it doesn't help. Meanwhile, I feel like it puts me at a disadvantage. It puts my family at a disadvantage because there's no long line of me's that we can go to. Like, oh, you like your great, great, great uncle so-and-so who he thought like this. And you know what I'm saying? There is no long line of us. There is no like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'd be thinking that shit is a flex. And I'd be like, shit, like, you know.
They're trying to use it as a flex, but I don't think it's a flex. I always see these white people who are like, oh, I'm Irish, I'm Italian. I'm like, do you speak Italian? Do you speak Gaelic? Do you even know what Gaelic is? Could you recognize it as a language? You are an American. Just accept it and go to McDonald's. Knock all that stuff off.
That's crazy. I mean,
I do get what Maye's saying. I get what
you're saying
because it became a thing.
Saying it wild as hell.
Like when I was growing up in Virginia, it's definitely like going. It was like, oh, I'm this and that, and it's like a bragging thing, but for the wrong reasons. It wasn't like because that's actually what I am. This is because I attribute that because I have these better supposed features and shit, and that come with it.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing.
But see, they can also play up to the traits of whatever. So, like for example, every race has like stereotypes that are, you know, like for example, like Irish. Right, Irish dudes are known for being able to fight. Like they're literally like, you know, the bar brawlers. They get drunk. They got a strong jaw. So when you claim that you Irish, then it's supposed to be like a flex. Just like people be like, I'm a Scorpio, and you supposed to know what that means. You're like, oh, you know, but I'm saying like,
what does it mean? I know it's supposed to mean they're freaky, but come on.
People like to live up to the traits that they can identify with.
Yeah.
So if I was like, you know, imagine you in the club, you tell that girl, yeah, I'm a Shaka Zulu nigga. She like, oh my God, you a Shaka Zulu nigga? You know what I'm saying? You really a Shaka Zulu nigga?
I don't know. He was a monster.
Who, Shaka Zulu?
Wasn't he a monster?
I mean,
he was a monster.
Right now when he was 19, 20, you know, shit happens in your life. But I'm just saying, like, I
get the thing about like, you know, it being a flex. I think that is an ego boost though.
Of course. Personally. So what? But
I'm not knocking
one.
I'm not knocking it.
Your race should be your freebie ego boost.
Yeah, like, I don't think you get an ego boost in this world. You get what you do on the daily.
Man,
I get that. Like it could be it can be like I feel like you should be prideful in what you are.
Yeah.
But that also goes into the thing of, you know, like I'm not saying don't look for your history. I'm just saying that there are some traces of it being there, and that's what I go back to is like they denounce what they want to and keep the parts that they like.
Watch this. Can I get canceled real quick? Watch this. Rihanna is a very pretty lady, right? The fact that you know she from Barbados and she foreign, in my opinion, add a slice on top of how. See, there we go. See, it just adds. It's like you know what she is. We don't even know what Beyonce is.
She's Creole, and she's
Creole,
absolutely beautiful.
And then what is Creole?
French, African mixture in Louisiana.
The African mixture. It's like, okay, so then it's different kinds of Creole, obviously, because it's different kinds of African mixtures.
Yeah, but they made a group. They made a new group in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. And maybe I shouldn't use Beyonce. But what I'm trying to say is like...
She's absolutely perfect. How could you use Beyonce?
Okay, but I just said we don't know what she is. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, you know where somebody is from, that means something. It really means
That's
something.
How con artists get you.
That can... I see what you're saying. It can mean something, but I also think that since we are living in a way where we don't necessarily know exactly where we come from, I can look at all four of us, right? And I'm sure we all come from somewhere different. And you're like, you're Detroit, I'm from Virginia, Atlanta, and you're from Syracuse. We got totally different kind of lifestyles. So that also plays, regions do play a fact in that kind of stuff as well. So I think it doesn't just boil down to like where our lineage initially started. It also boils down to a lot of other things because wherever you are, you have to adapt. And those people act different. Like, coming here from Atlanta and then intermingling with the black people in LA is different. No shade to them. It's just different.
Right.
And if they came out there, they'd be like, okay, that's different. I've been to Houston. It's different. Tennessee is different.
Yeah.
Every city just has a different way that you can feel that kind of.
But bro, I'm talking about on a molecular level. Like if people from my tribe eat grapes and get taller during their first growth spurt, I need to know that. If my family and my lineage, we, have a history of having, different allergies, and I need to be able to know that if I could live longer by avoiding a certain thing based on what my genetic makeup is and who my people are and what we have been eating for thousands of years, I need to know that.
You can know that. You can get a test and have it
Nah,
figured
but I don't
out.
trust that shit. Cause then you be like, wait a minute, this nigga look just like me in the NBA. Cause they done took your DNA and they done put it with some LeBron, and now this funny ass nigga hooping in the league. It's like, nah, fam, I'm good. You don't need no swab.
You probably have so many ancestors. And I'm going to do a whole bit on this because people don't really understand. Once you start going back in the line, you start magnifying ancestors. So you have 2 parents,
Mm-hmm.
you have 4 great parents,
Mm-hmm.
you have 8 great grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
you have 16 great great grandparents, then you have 32, then you have 64, then you have 128. And so by the time you get back here, you have so many different people who contributed to CP's DNA. You don't have to worry about one tribe here, one tribe there. A lot of them are going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
You have such a rich genetic history. Everybody does.
But guess what? I think I'm one of them. And you know what's crazy? You know what I think about? Because I've talked about this on the podcast before about how my grandfather's father moved to Detroit and built a reputation as one of the best roasters in the city. I never even met him, right? But then I think about this. Who was he being? Like what energy was he using at that time? Because it could be somebody who is not even him. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this could be somebody from eons ago because that's how we keep bringing each other back, in my opinion. I think that's how it works. And so it's like, it's just somebody in my lineage trying to do this, exactly what I'm doing. And it's trying to break through.
I just want to respond to that because a lot of people think that way, and it's fun to play around with. I'll play around with every idea, every which way, to play around. But when you're thinking about what kind of life you have to lead on the day-to-day, you have to assume that your actions are what's making the difference, not some ancestor back in the day, not some whatever, because you don't know. We don't know that there's another soul that's coming in. We don't know that the soul is different than the body.
So I don't even want to think about it as a soul, right? But there's a gene. Like
genetics we can talk about.
There's a gene. There's a certain, it's something in my brain that processes stuff that quick. Like, in order to be a roaster, that's like being a freestyle rapper.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like I really am good at it, even when I don't necessarily want. I'm just really good at it, and it's like, why?
Because you also practice.
But no, it's not. I don't.
You're good and you practice.
But why would? But listen, though, I'm the kind of person that I would only practice something that I know I'm going to be good at, that I want to be good at.
Well, that's how practice works. The more you practice knowing what you're going to be good at, the better you get at it. Do you know what I mean? So if you're like, I'm never going to be a basketball player, so I'm never going to practice that, well, you're not going to be able to shoot free throws either. So,
but if I understand that there aren't any basketball players in my family, and I need to focus on things that my family has been thinking and pushing the thought forward, being the next person in line to be able to take that, then it's like, that goes back to genetics, right? Like,
that's true. Okay,
you feel me? Like, LeBron's sons, they're some big guys because he's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
And so it's like, well, what we do know is that you have the tools to be able to play basketball. And therefore, not only do they have the tools to be able to play basketball, but knowing their father, seeing their father, watching their father play basketball, they know what moves they can go for. They know how to not be scared to go for this dunk because I have the tools. That's why it's like, on a very, very small scale, not knowing your father is the same thing that I'm talking about, where it's like not knowing where you're from. Like, people who, when I meet people like, man, I just don't know my dad. It's like, that's the same way that it is when you say, I don't know where I'm from. Because there are things that you're not going to know about yourself that if you knew them, you could accelerate your development.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Here's what I'm going to do as I say, not as I do kind of thing.
Okay.
Because I met my dad when I was 15. He came, he
Mm-hmm.
tracked us down. He found us. For whatever reason, he had to come and find us. And then I went to the island because we're from the island.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to the island. And I was like, oh, I've always been on this island. So I wasn't sure if I was feeling through my father's line.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is super familiar. Or there is another version
Of you that's been there before.
That because there was a conflict when I was younger as to who I would go with, my mother or my father.
Right.
And my mother decided it would be her.
Right.
So I went and lived with my mother. I lived in the Northeast and we became academics. That whole family is academic, going back generations.
Yeah.
5, 6 generations.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. So that's what I became. But then my father found us and was like, hey, I am your father. And I was like, okay, I see that. Takes us back to the island.
Right.
I go to the island. I was like, hey, I've been here.
You feel very familiar there.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Would you think, just what you said, just him bringing you to where he's from, putting your feet on the ground that made the feet that made you?
Well, because in the Caribbean, they brought a bunch of slaves over.
Mm-hmm.
So that island probably was inhabited by my father and his people since the 1800 or so, maybe 1700, because of the way they kept slaves there was so violent that it was the...
But that's what I'm saying. Like, just in you going to that place, I feel like you learned more about who you are.
And also meeting him because he's very, like, chill. He has a chillness that I think I have as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, meeting my father and being close to my father.
Imagine everybody in school telling you that you're too chill. And you go home and your mom is not really that chill. And you can't figure out why the fuck you so chill. And then you never meet your dad and realize that, oh, okay, this is what I am. And this is what I'm going to be. And I can find some kind of solace in that. Like I have a slight stutter sometimes, but I get that from my dad. But if I never met him, I would feel so defeated, as if something was wrong with me. But understanding that this is something that we do, it just, I don't look at myself as a malfunction. I just look at it like, all right, I got to slow down. I got to make sure you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's it though. I think that in itself is why we are sometimes frustrated and acting out in ways like this, because there are things that we don't identify with as Africans in this European society, and they don't sit right with our spirit.
See, one thing I will say on that point is me and my full brother are almost exact opposites. He does not have that inner chill. So I think it's just like a genetic thing.
Yeah.
But he's also the same.
From your dad. Yeah.
He's the same son. Like he's my father's son, but it's just different. See, I don't know about that. I think we have an opportunity to make something new and so much better if we would ignore what we don't have and look at what we do have.
Man, I keep feeling like I give the perfect example. It's like, yeah, like if LeBron's sons never met LeBron, they would just be tall and not knowing necessarily what to do with that. And maybe they wouldn't go into basketball. Maybe they would go into poetry, and that's cool. And they might be a great poet when they could have been a legendary basketball player with the tools that they have. That's what I'm saying. Of course, you can make your own lane, right? But it's like, why not know what you're good for? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why not? Like, man, like, I see a lot of my Asian brothers and sisters going into math and science when I was in college. It's like...
That's also cultural as well.
Cultural?
I wouldn't say that is a genetic thing. You're going on pretty thin ice.
But do they not? Are they not parallel streets though? Like where your culture is from, different. Your people are from, and what your culture is into, your people are into, and you know that because you know them, and so therefore.
Well, have you ever heard of epigenetics?
No.
So epigenetics. Let's pull this up. So epigenetics is basically like what you do in this lifetime will have an effect on your genes for the future. So I don't know if this is
I
necessarily.
didn't know what this was called, but that makes sense.
Let's go to. I know people are gonna be like, "Don't go to CDC." I'm going to CDC.
This is like
because it's
this is
standard.
damn near like a little bit around evolution, right? Like how you can kind of evolve yourself in different ways. Well, this is really how it works on a smaller scale, but it's like, like certain things play a role. Like, if there's not enough air here, or not enough water, the fish will learn how to survive in the mud. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you can train your genes.
DNA, right?
You can train them. So I don't know.
You ever notice how animals could do that a lot faster than we can, and that has something to do with maybe us not being connected and too many distractions. Like, imagine being able to change your DNA to what you need it to be.
Well, a lot of those are developed over time, and also they have shorter lifespans. So when we talk about animal trials, you got to think that a human lifespan to breeding age is at least 25, and for an animal, it's like 3 or 4. But
that just sounds funny. But okay, so
epigenetics is really interesting. So whatever we're doing in this lifetime, as far as health goes, that's going to affect the children that we have. So the healthier you live now, that's going to affect how your children actually grow up. And something really interesting happening in Europe, in Nazi Germany. So this group of people, I want to say it was in the Netherlands, they didn't have enough food, so they were starving. And so they had programmed their children to hang on to food more. So in that particular area, their children are more likely to have heart disease and like hypertension, same effects of everything, same inputs as everybody else, but because their parents had gone through this famine, they had to adapt. So it happened in one lifetime.
Eating was a big deal to them.
Yeah. So you need to hold on to that food.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like how
we was raised. Just starving kids in Africa. You better eat that shit. It's like, but I'm full. It's like you weren't even allowed to be full if you didn't look like what you ate was full. And I'm a parent. I'd be like, you ain't eat enough. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody finna. But I mean, yeah, that's like,
So it says it changes gene expression. So anybody who's worried about their family lineage, I would just say exercise and eat as well as you can in this life, because that will change the genetics for the next life.
That makes sense.
Or your next generation.
That does make sense, though. I mean, but also just building a culture of fitness and health it'll just be kind of what your generations know. Imagine you raise 2, 3, vegan children. They go off into the world and find vegan spouses, and then they have vegan kids, and now every Thanksgiving is vegan. It always has been vegan for them. They've never even known a not vegan Thanksgiving, and yeah, those kind of traits, will go down to children who eventually won't even think about meat. You know what I'm saying?
India, the whole subcontinent of India. They have different reactions to meat because they've been vegetarians for so long.
I heard that. Like, for example, I've also heard that they have like a chickpea burger at McDonald's in
Probably
India.
in India.
Yeah.
I haven't been to India.
Like they have like, like different. Yeah, that's dope, man.
But Pakistan, they eat meat. They eat a lot of meat.
Do they?
Oh, yeah. Pakistan is Muslim.
They just don't eat pork.
They don't eat pork, exactly. They eat a lot of goat and stuff.
Ring cam just went off. I got a neighbor, man. I got more footage of this lady. She walks past my door more times. She just paces. And we just have her images. Like,
that's scary. I'm a
She looks just like the lady from Everybody Everywhere All at Once.
That Asian lady?
Yeah.
I saw that movie.
Okay, so you saw it.
You know Tony. You know Tony's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, we had a TV. TV was fine. He needs to get a new TV because he's noticed something. I'm like, okay, fine, new TV.
Sound like somebody I know. Me. Go ahead.
So he gets a new TV. We just got the new TV like 8 months ago. And he's like, you know what? What if we had a projector? I was like, we don't need a projector. It's fine.
I literally just did that. I got a new TV. A couple months after that, I got a projector. But Tony, like myself, is moving with the technological spirit. There's something like you have to. No, listen.
I have it too. I can't even lie.
Huh?
I have it too.
Yeah. There's a spirit, and listen what I'm telling you. Like, these are the new survival things that we're gonna need. For example, one day in 2019, I woke up out of my sleep. My wife can attest this, and I said, I got to get a podcast equipment studio. She's like, what? And I just got on my phone, got on Amazon, ordered it, and it was like, if you build it, they will come. And I just started building this shit in my garage, like building like a big blue screen and building it. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. And then bam, a couple months later, the pandemic happens, and my whole life is in this studio. My whole life. It's like, it changed everything for me because I was ready. I was ready when the pandemic hit. Everybody was at home. I remember I was doing stuff with T.I. and Russ, and I mean, it was just like I was ready. Cedric the Entertainer, they was like, man, anybody who got a setup, hell, and I was like, right here. And I mean, I had like a whole TV studio in my garage, and it's like, why did I do that? I have no idea. I bought this new TV. I bought and I'm sure Tony probably got it. I got an OLED, a OLED. Is that what he got too?
He got one projector, but then it wasn't good enough,
No,
so he
not
got
the projector.
another projector.
That's the same thing I did. I'm talking about the TV that he got first.
Oh, I don't even know.
I got an OLED, a Sony OLED. It looks great. And then I thought about it like, man, we were stuck in the house and we have this huge wall that we had some art on, but we take the art off and it just looks like a movie theater, and we just run a projector. We have like movie nights, and then I got the surround sound. So now it's like, you watch Stranger Things, it's stranger than a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know, and it's like, but you got to let us do technology. Is like it's a good hobby that women eventually enjoy. They just don't like the initial investment of it. And I get that. But we have a vision. I know Tony has a vision. I mean, you have a vision. Like, this is going to be cold when I get it together. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. I need this. I need this piece. Got to get this HDMI. I got to get this extender because the box is over here and I got to run the projector to the Apple TV. But then that doesn't really work all the time because the Apple TV and the projector don't really know how to communicate. Man, there's so much shit. I used to work at Best Buy. I was the shit. You know, like, I really fucked with it. And it was really like, yeah. Shout out to Tony, man. Now I got to talk to him about what he got because I need to know. Yeah. Anyway, so he got one projector and it wasn't good enough.
He's like,
didn't have enough lumens.
Yeah. And then he's like, so we need a new projector. And I was like, I still didn't care at any point about any of this.
I don't care about nothing till it's sweet, till you watch it, what you really want to watch.
You see it on there.
Yeah,
like,
they're like, this is really nice. I really like this.
I get it.
I'm going to make the popcorn. Like, yeah. Like, we wouldn't even have this. But go ahead.
I would sleep on a mat on the floor and read all day. I do not care about anything except like working out and taking care of my family and the pets. Like, that's all I care about. So that's what he said too.
I need a PS5. I need 2 charged controllers. I need snacks. I need cold waters, maybe some apple juices. I also need a projector. I need an excellent TV. I need a variety of games. Right? I need like 2 or 3 sports games that I can just cycle between. Oh, you've seen my PS5?
Yeah. A lot of games on there.
My shit is souped. I put a heat sink.
The hard drive inside of there, which is not the easiest thing to do. So
man, what this is what I did. I ordered the heat sink, then I ordered a special screwdriver attachment for tiny like jewelries, and I just got all in it, and it's like my wife she don't even know. I'm like, man, I'm king of the nerds. You don't even know what I'm doing right now. Like, nobody's getting down like this.
I be doing that to my girl. Same thing.
Yeah.
She see me, like, I'll go, like, hard. I'll tinker with something, then she be like, you're not even messing with it anymore. I was like, I just had to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't know. I was like, oh, can you just, I see somebody doing it. I'm like, bro, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hack this open.
Oh, my God.
And break it open. I'm going to plug it in. And then after I do all of that, are you going to play any games on it? Nah, I just had to do it. You know?
I broke my heart trying to get that PS1 emulator, and I couldn't get it. It was sold out, and then my wife got me one for Christmas.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the little bit PS1.
The mini,
I played it 2 times. Like, I just have it now. It is mine.
Yeah.
Back to the PS5. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
Because and also too, the games weren't as good as I remember. Like,
oh no, you go back, bro. Yeah. Them games be like, man, I can't play this anymore because you advanced a lot.
Bro, I was playing. What was I playing? I was playing Metal Gear Solid. That good. Remember the PS1 one, like the real good one?
That was a breakout game.
Yes, that was like, that changed the game. Like, that was one of the top espionage games. Man, I turned that shit on. That shit looked like I was like, hey, I thought I needed glasses. I was like, this shit is, why is everything blurry? They expect me to just play in the blurry. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah, you can't go too far back. It's not fun anymore.
Man,
that's crazy. And
people saying, shout out to Miss Zuri. Miss Zuriel, talk about hearing CP is making me feel like I'm listening to my own husband. Listen, ladies, okay? This is a part of the gathering. The hunting and the gathering. The hunting is grocery shopping. The gathering is Best Buy. We have to create and build we trying to build a house that we don't never have to leave. You understand that every man has been waiting for the pandemic their whole life. Their whole life, they've been thinking, like, what if I get stuck in this house and I can't? And we've been thinking about it our whole life, and it happened. And some of us was ready.
A lot of people were not.
A lot of people were not. You understand me? A lot of people was on their balconies like, I was in the crib. Game set up, screen, snacks, weed.
I had a great pandemic.
Oh, man. We had a good-ass time barbecuing and shit. You know what I'm saying? My dog and my kids got a little weird, you know what I'm saying? Because they needed to be socialized. Me and my wife, we're grown. We were socialized. We needed a break from people. We was like, oh, we can't go outside. That's crazy. Pajama time, you know what I'm saying? But, man, I'm telling you, man, like, it's just like we every man, all the skills that you built over your life, you needed them. Every woman too. You needed them during that pandemic, right? Because every woman had to also be a little nurse-ish. You know what I'm saying? They had to be, they had to like basically your woman ran a hospital in your house. You know what I'm saying? And then, we were in charge of entertainment and ribs and you know what I'm saying? Like, but man, like I got real close with my dog during the pandemic, like because it's just like man and beast, like he's somebody who would walk outside with me at night, and if something run up on us, he would risk his life, and it just, it's just, man, it's interesting. It's deep. Like that really took us back. I think that pandemic reset us. That pandemic really reset us in a way that's like people are a little bit more reluctant to live as fast as they was living. It's like, people be like, yeah, it's late. We outside. And then they'd be like, I'm about to go home.
But that's good for us because you're married. I'm going to be married. We've been together for a long time. But what about for young people who haven't found their spouse yet? Like if you're 20 and the pandemic hit, got weird.
But guess what though? This pandemic showed you how interesting you were. Because I think that over this pandemic, if you didn't pick up any kind of hobby or you didn't really look into something or look within yourself, it's like this was a perfect time to become somebody that somebody can date. Mm-hmm. Like this is a perfect time to really work on yourself, to be somebody who somebody really want to be with. Because I think that, women kind of missed the mark on like how to relate to men sometimes. I think men have a lot of we spend a lot of time mending ourselves to relate to women. I did this joke this weekend in DC talking about how like, men, we marvel at women so much. Women be so beautiful to us. Sometimes we be forgetting the fuck. We be like, oh no, I don't need no pussy, man. I don't need you so pretty. I don't need some pussy. You think I came over here for some? I came over here to watch the whole movie because we get on our best behavior almost, and it's like because that's like what we think. It's like a job interview almost. And then in that regard, the woman becomes the job. She becomes, you are competing for her. It's a deep concept. I talk about it on stage, but the idea is that even with us talking about the electronics right now, I don't feel like women really get into our hobbies and get into our, like what we really enjoy as much as we do for y'all coming up. Like coming up, through those teenage years and all of that, I think a woman has to make a conscious effort to, and they don't even be thinking about that. They're not thinking about dating, thinking about relating to somebody. People just living their life. But that'd be an important time to kind of like, learn some shit that's other than the prissy girl, whatever stuff, or the girl stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm walking carefully around these words because I don't want to offend anybody, but I think it's just like, I think I speak for a lot of fellas when I say that guys like the girls that enjoy the guy shit sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know, because different guys like different stuff. Like the same stuff, the same traits that would make you like
women
technology.
Are tearing me up in the comments. Cap. I'm telling y'all.
I mean,
Like,
it is true to an extent. I think why a lot of women don't necessarily jump into that kind of thing like that or don't express that is because the first time that they do, and they dudes get all like overly defensive about the shit. Like, what you know? Oh, really? What do you know about it? And all of a sudden they be like, bro, it ain't even gotta be that deep.
Yeah,
Like, if she interested in it, bro, like just be cool. Like, it's really that simple.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of guys got that safeguard up. Like, you trying to be like us. Like, you know, they go back to the shit. Like, I don't want to say it, but they be like, you know, get back in the kitchen or shit. Like, that's what I be seeing. And I'm just like, it's really not that deep, bro.
Yeah,
Like, everybody has shared interests, and there's no problem. Like, there's no real like.
When we talk about this, we can't talk about the people who are delusional or immature. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Just adults only.
yeah, this is just adults only. I think that every man, you know, like my wife is here. She'll tell. I will walk in, and I may not be watching the show, but I'll sit there and watch one of them women's shows and just be like, oh my god. And sometimes she'll come down and watch the game or what, you know what I'm saying? You know, like Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm explaining to her like, yeah, so these niggas is Mongols, and I'm whooping their ass every time I see them, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that means a lot. I know it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if she cares that I come in and watch her show, but that means a lot to me. Like, oh, she come down like, oh, what team are you on 2K? I'd be like, pfft, watch me dunk on these niggas. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, that's like the same reason that you go see your boyfriend play basketball and then he start dribbling hard as hell. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to cross niggas over. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, it's just a level of support. It mutually should be shared through, you know, whatever interest that people have. So it's like
Tori Holland, leave me alone. Talking about Cap.
See, Tony does not like sports. I like sports way more than he does.
But see, that's the thing, though.
But that's cool,
he doesn't care about. You could put a sport on in front of him. He doesn't care. I'll watch any sport any day.
Right.
But the stuff that he likes,
you hate his projector, and then it's like you're hurting his feelings.
It's tinkering. He's a tinkerer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And I'm a thinker.
And I think that's a great combination. Tinkerer and a thinker, because you got to think to tinker, and you're a little bit of a tinker to thinker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I know what I just said.
You got to tinker with thoughts.
You have to tinker with thoughts, and you have to think to be able to be a tinker, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, to be able to, you know, because that's just like, you know, I've seen Tony do some amazing shit, or I've seen him figure it out and call me like, I got it. This is what it is. We got to do this. You go to this website. I remember when we couldn't get on Apple Music. Like, Tony would not sleep, and I appreciate that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, same with like Brennan. Shout out to Brennan. But it's like, you know, there is that meet them where they at kind of thing. And I think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, okay, would you like Tony to watch sports with you? What sports do you like? I didn't know you like sports like that.
Well, if anything's on, I will watch it just because it's on and the people are competing. But my sport is figure skating. You know my sport is figure skating.
Oh my God. Well, Maya, that's why he doesn't care about the sport.
But he doesn't care about any sports. Like, my dad be watching sports. He's not gonna care. His dad watched sports. He doesn't even care.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I used to be like that, man. I never cared about sports, and I think that I had to look and figure out what it was, and I felt like a little slighted because I didn't really play a lot of sports like that. Like, I played basketball in like middle school, and then I was on a baseball team for a little bit, but like, you know, like I don't know, like I wasn't into football at all because I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know the game. I never played, and then I got to college. And I remember, like, in 2000, well, I ain't gonna say the year, because fuck y'all, you know what I'm saying? But Michigan State had beat Michigan, and it was a big deal, and everybody was going crazy on campus. And it was just like, all right, now I have a team to root for, and I literally learned the game. I learned college football. Then I watched some of those college dudes go pro, and I would follow them into the pro. Like, okay, you play for the Colts, or you play for the Lions, or you play for the Bears. Now I'm watching the Bears to see you. You know what I'm saying? You're my favorite player. You came from Michigan State, or you came from Michigan. I saw you beat our ass, and now I'm watching you. You know what I'm saying? And it just grew into like me really being interested in it. And then I look up and I know every player in the league, NFL, NBA. Like, it's insane. I'd be like, God damn, like I know so much, to the point where I know more than the people who I used to, you know, hear talk sports. You know, my uncles and my dad and them. Now they call me like, what do you think? What's the spread? What you know, and it's like, man, it's crazy what you put your mind to. You know what I'm saying? But it's like
what you put your mind to.
Right.
Focused effort.
Yeah. But it was like an honest development. That's crazy.
Football moves too slow for me because they're always stopping the play.
Yeah, I can understand
it's just like,
that.
I can't.
But when you understand how hard it is to get them inches in them yards, Oh man, that's crazy. And then every year they get bigger and stronger and faster at every position. Nobody's fat anymore. Nobody's slow. It's like, it's that's crazy. And then people getting their fucking arms and shit broke. Yeah, man, it's wild.
The bigger they get, the more the play stops. The more specialized it gets, the shorter it is.
Hey, somebody said Maye yells at the TV during figure skating competitions like, come on, look at her outfit. What was she thinking? Like, what do you like about figure skating? Like,
it's physics and dance. So like when you wouldn't see it, but let's just pull up.
No. Listen. So my grandfather, his ex-girlfriend was from Canada. And she used to watch the shit out of figure skating. And she knew like, oh, this black girl is gonna do a flip. And she could do a flip on the ice. And it was like a big deal. And it was just like, oh. But I mean, I've never heard anybody young. Like she was like in her lower 100s.
That's the thing, is it used to be bigger before, but basically if you look at the marks on the ice of what we're doing, I'm not anywhere near someone like this, but you're going in circles.
Oh, you figure skate?
Oh yeah, that's where I came from just now.
Okay.
But everything is on a curve. So it's all physics, centripetal force, stuff in the air. And so when you're watching what she's doing, like she's never going in a straight line. She's always going on a curve and moving her body from one to the other. And her body, it used to be called figure skating because you had to draw a figure on the ice. So you're making your body like a pencil. And
I never knew they was drawing something.
Well, they don't really do it anymore. This is free skating. But when she's doing this, all these edges are on curves. And she's fantastic. This is Toko Miyahara because she can move both ways. Like she's ambidextrous.
Oh.
So she's one of my favorites. And you'll see her do footwork.
Well, she like the LeBron of this?
No, the Russians are pretty, I say cold. So she always got cut out from the podium. But I always thought she was the best because she was the best at skating. Gotcha. And they were the best at jumping. And the Russian girls jump with their arms. They have bad form and they ruin their backs.
Got you.
So they're pretty much done by 17, the Russian girls. That was the one that drugged recently.
Oh, they got drugged?
There was a drug controversy at the past Olympics. Yeah. Those are the Russians. The Russians are hard on their girls, and it's like a meat grinder with them.
Jesus Christ.
Japanese are fantastic. I'm a huge fan of the Japanese team. This is Satoko Miyahara. She's 5-time champion, and you just watch her move. Everyone's just like, oh, you're just going down the ice. But like someone who knows, I know that's a loop jump. She's going from right back outside edge, spinning 3 times in the air, returning to a right back outside edge.
That's insanely difficult, basically, is what you're saying.
It's hard to get that pop in the air.
I can't even roller skate backwards, and that's always pissed me off. Like, dog, because they call out backwards only. You'd be like, man, they be gonna give me a slice of pizza or something. But I need to start roller skating.
Yeah, there's one up in Burbank, the Ralph Foy Park.
It's one not ice skating.
Roller skating.
Roller skating.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's one in Glendale.
Yeah,
too.
Moonlight is what it's called.
Moonlight Roller Rink is up by.
There's one in Glendale.
I know so you know where the old Transit Studios was.
Yeah,
right
there.
On that corner.
Yeah, I think it's called Moonlight or something like
Roller
that.
Ray. We used to go there all the time. So
I went there once. The music sucks, but it was cool.
You gotta go on different. We used to go on gay nights and it was a lot of fun. But I like ice skating because I actually have my skates in my car. You are skating on a fraction, a little hair. You're not even skating on the full blade. You are doing it on the tiniest little. It's basically you can cut with what you're skating on.
Really?
Oh yeah.
How is she not dizzy?
I thought they'd be using the whole skate and just that's how I skate, like crunch, crunch. Damn.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I remember one time I was at Michigan State and we had went to this ice skating rink we had on campus. First of all, Michigan State had everything on campus.
Nice.
We had our own ice skating rink. We had a skating rink. Like we just had everything that you can imagine. It was like a city. It was like a city. You're talking about like 50,000 students, like 8,000 or 9,000 of them Black or children, people of color. And I mean, it had more students. It had more students of color than most HBCUs. Then it had more students, period. It was one of the biggest colleges ever. So, I mean, this campus was insane. Anyway, we went to this ice skating rink. We was like freshmen maybe, People was drunk. They had like ice skating night, you know. I guess it was some frat, maybe like the Alphas or something, skate with the Alphas. Skating, and one of the homies, he was taking off his ice skate and was yanking it. And then boom, cut the middle of his face open with the ice skate because he was that shit. I was like, wow. Wow.
He had a hockey skate or a figure skate? Figure skate has a toe pick on the front.
I have no idea. I don't even remember. All I remember is
I would not want to get hit with a toe pick.
Yeah.
You've seen some stuff like where people, they spin too close to each other. And the camel spins too close to each other. So there's been a instance where one pair partner caught the other one in the face, and it's hospital, dude. You go right to the hospital.
You think? Shit, y'all skating on swords.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all skating on swords.
Natasha got this close to me one time, and I didn't even know. And this boy was like, yo, Natasha almost cut you. And
Who's
I was
Natasha?
Like, she thinks she's bad. She is bad. She is bad. I'm not even gonna say shit. She's bad.
Wait a minute. For you to call her out by name, I'm thinking like, who is she? Like Natasha Takagami or something like?
No, she just skates at my ring.
Oh
I
man,
think she's fantastic.
Shout out to Natasha. No.
She's doing a spiral. She got like this close to me, and was like, "Was I in the way because I'm in her program?" But
hey, dog, y'all hear Maye? Maye got beef, and she's throwing shade at the skaters.
No, she's fantastic. If I can skate like her, I'll be very, very happy.
She thinks she all of that. She ain't got no podcast. Don't worry. She ain't killing them like us. Don't worry about it. So, you know what I'm saying? She almost got you though. She's very close. She cut your hair, huh?
She can't. She almost cut my my sweatshirt.
Man, that's crazy. Well, very interesting topics today. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's never the answers, always the questions. You know, I think, I want to know what y'all think in the comments about the genetics versus culture debate that Maye and I had earlier. I think that's a very, very important conversation. And I want you guys to join the Discord as well. You know what I'm saying? So we can, further these conversations. We got more stuff to talk about, as always. We're going to see y'all next time. I'm CP. That's Maye. That's Amir. And we are out of here. Peace.